Simple is simplify processes, amplify results. Simple is.
Thank you everyone for joining the session, and a warm welcome to everyone that is watching this through a recording as well. So first of all, I would like to thank Syed and the Branta team for collaborating with SimpleEd. We are really excited about this collaboration because this is an opportunity for both the organizations to join forces to serve our clients better. And the reason we're doing that is so that we can enhance all our products and services and make sure that the clients are optimizing their results and getting the best ROI possible. So with that being said, I'm really excited for this partnership, and we are going to be focusing on two key regions, one being Mexico and the other being India. Both of these are very important locations when we talk about international enrollment management. Mexico being a key state for institutions that are located either close to the border or located in locations that has a huge diaspora of Mexican population. And there's a lot of institutions that recruit from Mexico.
Thank you, Yasir, and welcome everybody. And thank you for joining today. My name is Syed Jamal. I'm here in the Seattle area. My background is in Education USA. I used to head the marketing and communications at the Fulbright Commission in India before I moved to Seattle and started Branta. Very passionate about international education. I was in international education myself. I was an international student myself. I came to US on a Ford Fellowship. It allowed me to experience international education as someone who came to US for the first time. So I really bring that perspective into my work, and that also led me to start my own company to bring that international education experience to other international students. And as Yasir said, we are both very excited. I have known Yasir for a long time. We have often chatted with each other. We have bounced ideas with each other. And it just became very sort of commonsensical to come together and do something together. And that something got defined with these two tours, India tour and Mexico tour. We're also, Branta's expertise has been working with counselors with their professional development program. So we have been working with the high school counselors across several countries, and we really help them define their professional development goals and then help them meet those goals on one hand. And on the other hand, we also work with their students a lot to help them validate their career choices. How do students decide what career they want to go in? How do they decide what will they succeed in? At such an early stage, it's very difficult to validate those, and we sort of come in as their co-traveler in their career decision making. So that's our expertise, helping young people validate their career decisions.
So thank you, Syed, for sharing your background and sharing the background of Branta. I came to United States as an international student myself, worked for a couple of state universities before starting SimpleEd, and SimpleEd has been in existence for 9 years now. And I think, as Jamal shared, his organization is very focused in working with counselors globally and also working with students, whereas SimpleEd prides itself in handling logistics, travel all over the world. And currently we do that in 21 countries, 7 different regions around the world. So I think when we come together, we will be able to deliver exceptional, if not one of the best tours out there. So as you can see, these are the 3 tours that we are partnering for. 2 tours in India, one right after the IC3 conference starting 24th of August, but the next one is starting in November. And the dates that we chose were very carefully selected because October, there are 3 big holidays in India. And if you do decide to travel to India in October, it might be extremely tricky. So for that reason, we have chosen November, but still we are a few days away for Thanksgiving, so you can be back in the United States and celebrate with your family and loved ones. And Mexico is going to be in August, starting on August 31st. And the way Mexico tour is designed is to really optimize each day of the trip. So the trip starts on Sunday and ends on Friday evening. So you can literally leave your city on Sunday and be back by Friday night. And the idea is to make sure that not only we are enhancing every dollar that you spend, but also making sure that your time is spent wisely. So over a 5-day period, we will be visiting 3 carefully selected cities and be visiting high schools. So that is the overview of these 3 tours. So here's a slide that we want to quickly touch on how joining forces can really help add value for the institutions that we serve. And I know Syed has already touched on some of the things that he does. Another thing that SimpleEd really prides itself in is providing optimum customer service and support before even the trip begins. So when you sign up with Simple Ed, one of the things that we do is we start with an onboarding call, which is a very simple call just to share all the details of the trip and also all the forms, documentations that we need from you to get started. The second step of the pre-tour phase is where we schedule a pre-tour consulting call with you. And for this call, this time, me and Sayed will come together. And the whole goal of this step would be to work with you to identify what your goals are for the trip. Along with that, share all the best practices with you, ranging from the kind of marketing materials to use, the kind of questions parents and teachers might have for you, and the kind of presentation you should take, what will be your lead collection strategy and follow-up strategy, to name a few of the discussion points during the pre-tour consulting. And the last thing that we do prior departure is the pre-departure orientation. This virtual connection is focused on the logistics and the travel aspect. This is when we hand over the complete itinerary to you in form of a tour app where you can see all your bookings, where you're going to be staying, what schools are you going to be visiting, what other events are scheduled for the trip. You can share it with your family, a risk assessment supervisor, and if anything changes on the trip, the app is updated in real time. So please be aware that when you sign up with us, we are going to be with you throughout, as soon as you sign up and all the way to the end of the tour. We also help institutions execute their follow-up strategies in the region that you travel with us. And we do this for a period of 60 days. So with Simple Ed, you don't just have a tour company, you have a partner that is completely invested in your success. Over to you, Saeed.
Yeah, I think you have covered most of it, but I do want to emphasize on two things. As I mentioned, I'm very passionate about student decision-making process. So I work a lot with counselors. Sometimes we go to a city and we are unable to go to that particular school because they're busy or they're doing some other event. But, I look at our tour from the perspective of good fit. So even if you're not able to visit certain schools, I do reach out to some of the counselors who I think might be a good fit for your program and may have students who might be a good fit for your program. So I talk to them, I follow up with them, and sometimes, we do sessions with those counselors as well. You may not have met with them or you may not have known them, but we bring them on board because they're a good fit. The idea is to do a valuable matchmaking. The other thing, as Yasir also mentioned, is in the follow-up. I have been in international education since 2011, and the student that I advised in 2011 are still in touch. They have, some of them have gotten married, some of them got their master's degree, some of them have kids, some of them are in the US, so they're all over, but I am still in touch with them. And it helps my professional development to know what helped them, what I could have done better, and they bring in so much value. And that's a long-term student engagement that I truly believe in. I enjoy that. I love that. It helps me see what new thing they have to bring in, and that also adds value to tours. So when you are meeting with students, know that I'm also talking to them. I'm also thinking about them. I'm also following up with them and guiding them at the same time. While you focus on your university and programs, I focus more on their decision making. How do I help them make a more informed decision? I also do a lots of workshop on decision making for young people, for counselors, for startups, both in India and South Asia, but also now in the Seattle area. So those are, I think, additional advantages for you. You can see there are very different, unique perspective that Yasir has and that I have. And when we come together, you get advantage of all of those different perspectives.
Okay, now I just want to briefly touch on what is included in the pricing. So whether you sign up for the Mexico tour or the India tour, all of the listed items are going to be included in the pricing. So any in-region flights, that's going to be included. All the hotels are going to be included. Ground transportation is going to be included, and there is going to be a tour leader with you throughout the tour. For the Mexico tour, Syed himself is going to be leading that tour, and for the India tour, I myself will be present there along with the Simple Ed team. So let me just take a different approach to this. So what I want to share with you is that as soon as you land in the region where the tour is happening, whether it's Mexico or India, my team will organize an airport pickup for you. So we pick you up from the airport, we check you into the hotel, and on day one, we have the orientation and welcome dinner. And thereafter, everything is completely booked for you. And only thing you need to focus on and worry about is meeting students, networking with the counselors and parents, and just presenting to all the different stakeholders that you meet during the tour. The only thing that we don't include are your meals and any personal expenses that you might have during the tour. Everything else is included as listed over here. And it's also important to talk about what's not included so you can prepare for these. We do not include international flights, any kind of visa or immigration fee, any insurances are not included. And as I mentioned, we do not include meals and personal expenses. Sometimes when you board the in-region flights, they might charge you an excess baggage fee if you have more than the luggage allowed. So that is something to be aware of, especially if you're carrying a lot of trinkets, if you're carrying a lot of promotional materials, sometimes they can get heavy. So that is something to keep in mind when you prepare for the trip. And we can definitely talk about this during the pre-tour consulting or the onboarding session. All right, so now let's go over the three different phases of our tour, or what you're paying for, right? So we divide it into three different steps. Step number one is the pre-tour phase, which I already spoke about, that we are going to be having a one-on-one onboarding session. After that, a virtual onboarding session, then a pre-tour consulting, and finally, pre-departure orientation. And the whole focus of the pre-tour phase is preparedness. We want to make sure that you're prepared for the market and you are completely equipped to have a successful time in the region that you're traveling to. The second step is the tour itself. So let's talk about the tour a little bit. So after the day, arrival day, which is only reserved for resting, getting over the jet lag, and welcome dinner and orientation. From day one itself, we start visiting 2 to 3 institutions on a daily basis. And in each of the high schools that we visit, we always start with a presentation because we want to make sure that the students can hear from you and have an overview of your institution, your programs before they have an opportunity to engage with you one-on-one. So after all the presentations are done, we break down into a mini fair setting where students can come and interact with you. This is the basic framework of every high school visit. And every high school visit ends with a quick tea, coffee, or a quick chat with the high school principal and the counselor. Of course, every visit is unique and there will be changes and somewhat of uniqueness associated with each trip, each school visit. However, loosely speaking, the format of the school visits is as I explained. And along with that, as Syed mentioned, we try to visit as many schools as possible. We try to engage with as many counselors as possible. But of course, it's just not possible to go to every good school in the region. So in the evening, we also do networking events, sometimes with agency partners, if that is what you're looking for, but mostly we do it with high school counselors. We also collaborate with Education USA, US Commercial Services to do additional programming whenever the opportunity is there. And finally, once you return to the United States, we start the post-tour phase where we work with you to engage all the students that you have interacted with. We provide you all the leads, not only of the students, but also all the counselors that you met. We give you a tour report along with pictures so you can share it with your supervisor, anyone else that you need to share it with, or keep it for your records. And any help that you need in engaging the high schools that you visited or engaging the students that you interacted with during the trip, Simple team, Branta team, and all of us are going to be there for you. So the idea behind the post-tour step is that we all understand how important follow-up is. So we want to make sure that whether you're a one-person office or you are traveling to another region right after the tour, you have that support with us so we can help you tap team the outreach with you. And this is something that should be discussed during the pre-tour consulting, that how do you want to be helped? What are the steps that you want us to take? Because every institution has a unique strategy, and we just want to make sure that we're not overstepping and we are also engaging students in the way that you want us to engage. So one of the questions that we frequently get asked is that how do we select high schools? So these are some of the criteria that we look at. We definitely want to make sure that the schools that we're visiting has a college counseling staff, or in India, sometimes they're known as career counseling staff. The other thing we want to make sure is that the students already have the language proficiency. So whether you need TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, whatever testing requirements you have, the students can easily meet it. The next thing we look at is the paying capacity. So most of the schools that we will visit in India and Mexico are going to be private schools, sometimes even international schools, although it will be a mix of local premium schools and international schools. And we want to make sure that the students are not completely reliant on scholarship to come and study at your institutions. And lastly, we look at trends of students studying abroad. And I know this is something that Syed is very passionate about, so I'll transfer it to him so he can add some words to this slide.
Yeah, I think you have covered it all, Yasir. But in the very first point, college counseling staff, it is not a homogeneous group. Counselors are very different, and they all work in different capacities. They have different engagements. So, for example, I differentiate counselors who work very closely with parents as opposed to those who are not so engaged with parents. I also look at counselors who are engaged, in activities that they do to help other counselors. They are sort of training the trainer kind of program. Then there are other set of counselors who are very involved in the local community, and they want their students to do all kind of extracurricular activities. So all of this becomes much clearer when we do the pre-tour conversation with you, that in that orientation, it becomes much clearer to us that what would be a good fit. And it almost draw the picture of those counselors who would be a good fit for you depending on your programs and what you want to talk about during your tour.
So the last two slides are completely dedicated to showing you a few pictures from our trip. And none of these are stock footages. These are real pictures, so you can understand what a trip looks like. And these are some of the pictures from our India trip. So one of the things that I want to draw your attention to is the size of the audience, right? Even at the fair, you can see at the right-hand bottom picture how many students are there. So as we know, India is a very populated country, of a country of about 1.3 billion people. So you will definitely see a lot of students, about 2,000 to 2,500 by the time you're done with the trip. And anywhere between 600 to 800 leads will be collected by you by the end of the trip. So as you can see, there are pictures of how the mini fair is taking place and also how these presentations are taking place. And at the bottom, you will also see sometimes when we have meetings, principals and other faculty are also invited to have a conversation with you. Here's a glimpse from our Mexico tour. One of the things that is immediately stands out is that the student population is going to be a lot smaller, right? Sometimes maybe 20, 30 students compared to India, maybe 100, 200 students in each of the workshops. Of course, that is definitely a norm if you go to regions that are not as populated. And another thing that we are very careful about when going to Mexico is the language proficiency, because in India, a lot of students, a lot of schools speak English, and that's never as big of a problem. But if you look at all of the pictures, you will see not only are we doing workshops, meeting with the counselors, but you will also see that there's an interview happening on the right hand side, and there are different activities that happen. And schools are very, very welcoming and eager to hold these workshops, and we carefully select these.
Hello, thank you so much for watching this recording. I hope you found it useful and valuable. My name is Yasir and I'm the founder and CEO of SimpleEd. At SimpleEd, we do amazing international education events throughout the year, so please check out our website and find out more information.